Hi guys, I'm Brianna Alexis and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about money management, how to manage your money. Simplest forms, easiest forms. Now I'm no investor or anything, I'm no financial advisor, none of that. I just really like money and I'm really good at managing it. A lot of my friends and family, they always see me going to different trips on vacation out of the country, and in my head they think that I'm rich, and I'm just like, no honey, far from rich, not rich yet. But I do know how to manage my money. I like to do nice things, I like to travel, I like to enjoy myself, and so in order for me to be able to do those things, money management is like key, especially during today's time. If you're in America, inflation, like, managing your money right now, knowing how to manage your money right now is extremely important. And so I want to show you just the basics of what I do to manage my money. You do not have to have a whole lot of money. For all people could know, I can have $0 in my bank account and I still would have all my bills paid for and still find a way to be able to do things. And so it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's about just how you manage the money that you do have. And so I want to show you guys just exactly how to do that. So first things first, at the end of every month, I list out all of my expenses. I mean, everything from the major bills to the small bills to the IOUs, all of that. Whatever I know that the month coming up, I list them out. I just write them down. Rent, car insurance, light bill, internet bill, credit card bills, whatever the expense is, I write them down. Even my subscriptions, my Hulu subscriptions, my Netflix, Disney Plus, like any type of subscription that you have, write them down. Even if you plan on, let's say you're going on a trip, or you know you're going out, or you're making payments to go on a trip or something like that, and you already know how much you're gonna need for whatever it is that you're planning for that month, write it down. So for instance, I went on trips, like group trips, and I know that like we have a payment due for like a part of the trip coming up in a month. I would write that down for that month. That is an expense that I know I have to pay within the month coming up. So I'm gonna write it down. So every little expense, like, don't forget anything. You need to write down exactly the amount that expense is gonna cost you. And I mean to the T, if you can, because I know some things change, and I mean, I wait until I get my bills emailed to me and I know exactly how much it is. I gotta write that down. And then sometimes if I'm not for sure, I estimate, and I always overestimate a little bit. But for the most part, if you're doing this at the end of every month, you should already know exactly how much that bill for the next month is going to be to the T. It's the end of the month, everything has been sent out to you already, you should already know. So that's number one thing. You want to write down all of your expenses from the first of the month to the end of the month to a T, no matter if it's a fixed expense or something that just came up. Like, write everything down, right? And next on that list, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna write the due dates that everything is due on that list. So again, from the top of your list to your bottom, you're gonna write down exactly when that date for that bill is due. And then once you write down all the dates, you wanna go ahead and put them in order from the first of the month till the end of the month. Go ahead and put them in order of the bills that is due. All right, so you got your list. You dated them, so you know exactly how much your expenses is gonna cost you for the month if you went ahead and added up the totals, and you know exactly when every bill is gonna be due. So the third thing that you wanna do is, based off your pay schedule, based off when you know that you're gonna receive some type of income or whatever. So if you get paid on a weekly basis, or if you get paid bi-weekly, or hey, you just got multiple streams of income, or the way that you make your money is kind of different, so you just get lump sums of money at a random time, whatever the case may be. But based off of when you know that you're gonna expect some type of income coming in, you're gonna make a decision on when do you want to pay your bills. So I've done both before. I've been paid bi-weekly, which is like the typical, but I've also been paid weekly. When I've been paid bi-weekly, I found it best to divide my expenses. So I divided it by, that's why I said write down your due dates. I divided it by when they were due. Anything that was due between the first week that I got paid for, between the first week of that month that I got paid and the second week, all of that, I used that first paycheck to pay all of those bills. Just get out the way. Just get out the way. I know I'm getting paid at the beginning of the month. Let me go ahead and take everything that's due before the next time I get paid and just pay it off all at one time, right? For example, I'm looking at my calendar. Today we're in September. Let's say I got paid on the 1st of September. The 1st of September was on a Friday. That was the first week of September. If I was getting paid on a bi-weekly basis, the next time I would get paid would be on the 15th, which is kind of like the middle of the month. So what I would have done was any bill or expense that I've had that is due before the 15th, I would have paid with the check that I got on the 1st. Anything due, since I know the next time I'm getting paid is on the 15th, anything due on the 15th and after, before the next time I get paid, in this case where September would be the 23rd, 29th, so September we get paid 3 times a month, that's different. But anywho, anything paid after the 15th would, that 15 check would pay all of those expenses, right? So I tended to separate my expenses based off that. The reason I did that was because I just felt like if I use a whole check to pay off the bills that are due at the beginning of the month, right? Let's say those bills are the most expensive bills. Typically they are. They always include rent, car, all these other crazy stuff. Always due at the beginning of the month. That's like when the highest bills are being paid sometimes, right? So I would just say, okay, I'm gonna take that whole check and I'm gonna pay all the highest bills, get those out the way. Anything due after the 15th, the second half, typically, I don't know, in my case, those are like just subscriptions or just extra expenses, credit card bills that just comes up, the smaller bills I feel like, in my instance. And so I'm like, okay, I know in the middle of the month I'm getting paid, let me go ahead, pay off the rest of the bills that I have, the smaller bills, and I probably still have a lump sum of money that I can use for myself because I took care of the bulk of the bills, the most expensive bills in the beginning of the month. So now at the end of the month, I'm just taking care of what's left over, and then now I still have money to do whatever I please. And like I kind of mentioned, in a case where in a month there's you get paid 3 times if you're getting paid bi-weekly. Now that third check is kind of extra because you've already paid your bills for the month, so you just have a whole free check, right? Or, and I'm probably going ahead of myself, but you can look at that check as like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and pay the bills for the next month, all those bills, so that way that first bill that you get paid the next month is like either your free check or a check that you use to pay those smaller bills, and now you still got to, like, you're always ahead of the game. That is a good way to manage your money if you get paid bi-weekly. Now, let's say you get paid on a weekly basis. I have done that once before too. Weekly basis are kind of tricky, right? Because your money is you're not really receiving your money in a lump sum as you would in a bi-weekly case. You're getting half of your bi-weekly every single week, right? So it seems as though you're getting paid more every week because you're just always seeing money every week. But you're really just getting your lump sums on your whole check, lump sums of money. You're just getting it every week now. It's just getting bought out every week. So it can be a little tricky because if you're someone who likes to spend money and you see this money coming every every Friday, every single Friday, you're probably thinking like, okay, I got this check on this Friday, let me pay this bills. I got another check coming this Friday. I can do a little bit extra. I can do this, I can do that because I got money coming. No, babes, let's brace yourself. So this is what I do on a weekly basis. So you still have your list. You still have your due dates. You getting paid every week, but it's just cut in half from what you would have got paid if it was 2 weeks basis. So this is what I do. Or this is what, I did what you can do. You can either pay your bills based off when they're due. So that means you're gonna be holding on to your money every Friday, trying not to spend it because you wanna make sure you're keeping track of what you're spending. So what I mean is, like, let's say again, where I'm using the month of September. You're getting paid on the 1st, which is Friday. But you know that you have your rent's due, whatever else is due between, let's say you have a couple bills that's due between like the 1st and the 5th of the month. So basically you're gonna take that check that you had and you're just gonna pay all those bills. You might have used all of that money depending on how much your bills are. And so now you probably have to wait again until you get paid that Friday. If that is the case, when you get paid that next Friday, you're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. Take whatever you have from your check, pay whatever bills that you got in that time range before the next time you get paid. Again, because now it's kind of close to the middle of the month, you may just now be finishing paying off all of the bills that you have at the beginning, and then when you get paid that 3rd Friday, it could be a free check, right? So basically it's kind of living paycheck by paycheck, unfortunately. But you're still paying your bills on time. You just have to be like very strategic when you're paying your bills. You can't be too quick to like want to go spend on other stuff. So that's kind of how you manage your money on a bi-weekly basis and on a weekly basis. And that's just strictly just getting income and paying off your expenses, your bills. I think that's the most important thing when it comes to managing your expenses, which is why everyone always emphasizes to lower your expenses as much as possible, because anytime you get any type of money, I feel like that's the very first thing that you should do. Before you think about going shopping, before you think about treating yourself and doing all these other extra stuff, nice things, but extra stuff, you need to focus on paying your bills. Pay your expenses, give these people that you owe money, pay them off, and then take care of yourself. Now, I know some people may be like, no, you need to take care of yourself first and then pay those bills off. I understand that mindset, but for the people who are just horrible at money, at money management, or maybe people who just don't have that much money yet, that much income yet, they're like, you know, living paycheck by paycheck. They're not the richest people or the wealthiest people. I think the most important thing in order to get you to that level is to focus on paying off your expense, or lowering your expenses, lowering your debts as much as you can, and just focus on paying that stuff off until you get into a better position. Then yes, you're gonna start taking care of yourself first and then taking care of those other things last, right? Ideally, I think what most people encourage that is just because you eventually want to get to a point where like you are not necessarily paying off your expenses. You have other sources, resources of money that's doing that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But that's a whole nother conversation. We're just talking about the basics. Managing your money at the beginner's level. This is what I've been doing. I got my first job when I was 17 in high school. And so this is how I've been managing money since a freaking teenager. And so this is for very beginner level, easy, simple, nothing too much, right? Now, if you want to get a little bit of intermediate level, if you want to do a little bit more, if you want to start taking care of your expenses, your bills, but also saving or investing, you want to actually do those things. Most people, they're okay with just getting their money, paying their bills, and then doing whatever else they want to do with the rest of their money. Hey, that's cool. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. However, I do think it's best to be able to pay your bills, still have fun, do whatever you want to do, but also save and invest and do all these other good things too. Be wealthy, build wealth, right? Those are my goals. That's where my mindset is. That's where I'm heading. And so this next thing that I'm about to talk about is how I kind of started to do that on, like, again, very easy, basic, entry level, I guess you can say, method. So I did, if you haven't heard of it before, it's called the 50-30-20 rule. And it's where you take 50% of your income, you use that to pay all of your bills, expenses, debt, whatever. Then you take 30% of your income, you use that to pay yourself. So that goes for you. Whatever you decide to use that money on is up to you. It's free money. You can do whatever you please with it. And then you take 20% of your income and you put that into savings and investing. That is what I did. And let me tell you, it did wonders. That is I love that method. That was a great method. I started using that method right after I graduated college and I got my first job. I was making money, okay? Making money. I say making money because, you know, if you've been to college, you broke. So once you graduate college and start getting your first job, you feel like you're making money. You feel like you're doing something. And so that was like one of the things that I did. Now, let me tell you, this method was a little bit easier for me because, again, I was coming straight out of college. I didn't really have that many responsibilities. As far as, like, I wasn't paying rent. I moved back in with my grandma. Didn't have that many bills to accumulate anyway. And so money I got when I was working was literally just, I think I just paid for my phone, my car insurance, and that was about it. Everything else was just me. So this method right here, great, especially if you don't have that much expenses or that many responsibilities or financial obligations. I highly suggest taking advantage of using this method because it's a great starting point to get you to whatever higher financial goals that you have. I think this is a really great, like, method to use. Now, once you do get, you know, if you do have more responsibilities, financial obligations, it could be a little bit harder to kind of stick with this method. I understand because I did eventually get more financial obligations and it was something that I had to stop doing and kind of rearrange. And then again, we're living in this economy right now that is not all that great. And so it could be hard to try to do this method, which is why I kind of mentioned the first method where it's just focusing on just paying for those expenses that you have and making sure you're doing it in a good timely manner, like just breaking up your expenses and paying it, you know, half of the month, or paying it in the beginning of the month and paying it in half the month. So let me kind of break it down for you guys just a little bit so you understand exactly what it is. And so again, 50-30-20 is what you want to remember. 50-30-20. 50% of your income, your monthly income. So you need to know exactly how much you make in a month. You take that in half, basically 50%, you just divide it straight in half. Half of that money you're gonna use for your expenses. Now you guys are probably thinking, oh, well, how am I gonna divide half of my expenses if I get paid on a weekly basis or if I get paid on a bi-weekly basis? Like, I'm not getting my whole entire monthly check at one time. Now, there's some people who do. If you get paid by commission, you always get paid at the end of the month. Like, you get your biggest check at the end of the month, smallest check in the middle. So for you, it's a little bit more easier. But for everyone else, this is what I did. I just divided the 50% into 25. So if I got paid on a bi-weekly basis, okay, I know the first month, that's half of my monthly income. The second check is the other half. So I just divided it into two. Instead of taking 50% of that first check, I took 25 because I know 25 is half of 50. So I took 20% of whatever that first check was, or 25%, I'm sorry. Took 25% of whatever that first check was, and I used it to pay off all of those bills that are due at the beginning of the month. Again, I still separated by due date. So whatever was due before the next time I got paid, out of that 25% that I just took from my check, all of those bills got paid for. Then the next thing is 30%. 30% is what you treat for yourself. So again, splitting it in half. Half of 30 is 15. So I took 15% of whatever was left over of that other half of that check, took that money, and I put it into a separate bank account that I use just for myself to treat myself. So if I felt like I wanted to go out sometime this month, I would use from that money. If I wanted to treat myself to a nice dinner or just food that I consider a lot, but it's just nice fine dining, whatever, I use from that money. If I wanted to buy myself something, I use from that money. That 15% is the money that you can use for whatever you want. Then the next thing is 20. So half of 20 is 10. You take 10% of whatever's left over, or the remaining of the money, and you use that for your savings or investments. I just used it for savings, so I took that 10% and I put it into my savings account. Then the next check that you get, you do the exact same thing. You've already split it into half because again, you got paid on two week basis. So again, 25, 15, 10 is what you can is how you can look at it when you're getting paid bi-weekly. So it's still 50, 30, 20. You're just breaking it down even smaller. Great method, highly suggested. Now, if you're getting paid on a weekly basis, you're gonna just divide that 30 and that 50, 30, 20 by 5 weeks if you're getting paid on a 5-week basis. So, for example, you get paid on the first, your 50%, you're only gonna take 10%. 10% of whatever you got paid on that first time you get paid is gonna go to your bills. 30%, you're gonna divide that by 5 and it's gonna be 6. So 6% of whatever you get paid is gonna go to yourself. And then for 20, again, divided that by 5, 4% of whatever you get paid is gonna go by yourself. So on a weekly basis, every time you get paid, your percentages is gonna be 10, 6, 4. On a bi-weekly basis, your percentages is gonna be 25, 15, 10. But overall, in the entire month, it's always gonna be 50, 30, 20. On a weekly basis, it might be a little bit harder because again, your expenses or your income, it's gonna be what you get paid on a monthly basis, but just broken down. And you don't know, your bills that are due are probably gonna be way more. So you're probably just gonna have to, again, just be a little bit more strategic about when you're getting paid and how much you're getting paid, about spending extra money. So yeah, that is just like the ways that two main ways that I kind of manage my money on a monthly basis. I ensure that I'm always listing out all of my expenses for the month. I list them out on a piece of paper and I write the due dates. I even go another step and I get a calendar and I write them out on a calendar. So I can see it on the calendar, I'm seeing it on my paper, I'm always seeing it, right? So I'm actually one of those people who know exactly how much my expenses are every single month. And I also know exactly how much I receive on a monthly basis. I know everything off the top of my head because I do it consistently every single month. Write down all your expenses, write the due dates. Then you're going to just make a plan of how you want to pay off all of your expenses. Do you want to do it half the month? So whatever you get paid in the beginning of the month, just go ahead and pay half of those bills then pay the second half on the second time you get paid there. Or you just want to pay them as the bills are coming in. You know you have the money, but you're just going to pay them exactly when they're due and just holding on to your money. That's cool. Another key thing that I would like to add when it comes to managing my money, and while we're talking about just when you're paying your bills, keep track of your spending. Again, I'm one of those people who know exactly how much my expenses are. I know exactly how much I have. Anytime I spend money, regardless of if it's something that I already planned out and know to spend or if it's something extra, I always calculate. I always subtracting what I spend from what I have. Therefore, I always know exactly how much money I have. And I will probably always be that way. I don't care how much money I have. I'm always going to know to the T exactly how much money I have. Because some people, they probably don't do that because they're like, I have money. It's coming in. That's great. But me, I like to make sure, I like to know where my money is going. And so I'm always going to keep track of how much I got and how much is going out. Anytime I swipe my card, I need to know to track that from the last thing that I know that was in my head. Anytime I'm pulling out cash, I'm subtracting that. Anytime I'm sending someone money, I'm subtracting that. Anytime somebody's giving me money, I'm adding that, right? I have a calculator in my head. I'm lying. I have a calculator in my phone. But regardless of the fact, that is another way to help keep track of like your spending. Literally, anytime you spend money, subtract it from what you have that you know that you have. Anytime you get extra money, add that to what you know you have. Like, just keep a calculator on you or in your head and keep track. But if you want to not just have money but maintain your money, you need to watch exactly how much you have, what's coming in, what's coming out. The second half of what I do to manage my money is now I am making money work for me, and I'm deciding how my money gets spent. I'm deciding the money that I have coming in, I'm deciding what I want to do with it. It's not gonna tell me what it's gonna do. It's gonna do for me. I'm telling it what it's gonna do for me. So basically I'm saying I'm gonna take 50% of the money I have, and that's just gonna pay for my bills. Then I'm gonna take 30% of the money I get, and it's gonna pay me. I get paid 30%. I get a 30% cut. And then 20% of it is gonna go towards my saving account or investments, whatever you want it to be, or both if you want to split it in half, whatever. So it's basically just keeping an account of what you're spending, your expenses, and again, really want to, in order for this to like really work, you want to try to get your expenses as low as possible. And so things like rent, car, I mean, those you probably can't get as low, especially in today's economy. You just gotta take, I mean, you can, but it's kind of like a fixed thing. But stuff like your car insurance, search around for cheaper car insurance, see who has the lower rates. Things like your phone. Do you really need to go buy a $1,000 iPhone? Try to get that expense as low as possible. Things like your subscriptions. Do you need all of them? Are you using everything that you are subscribing to? If not, take them out, because those do add up. Let me tell you, your little $35 for Hulu, but then like $15 for Netflix or whatever, and then like another $12 for, Disney Plus, all that stuff adds up. It do. So let's try to minimize that as low as possible. You can get your Hulu account and add on Disney Plus and all that stuff and try to minimize that. Extra subscriptions, like I used to have a subscription to like Scentbird. Honey, I don't have a perfume every month. It's great, but it's like I haven't been even using them, or it doesn't take me a full month to use whatever the perfume that they gave me. So that gets cut out. Going to the gym membership. Yes, we want to be healthy. We want to be fit. We want to look good, have a summer body. But do you have a gym inside of your neighborhood? Because if you do, you can go there. Or pay $10 to go to Planet Fitness. Do you really need to go to a CrossFit or anything like that and pay like $600 a month when you can go pay $10 at the Planet Fitness and do the same thing? The only thing different is you don't have anybody yelling at you and you just have to do it yourself. Right? They have trainers at the Planet Fitness. That's $10. You just sign up to go work out with one of them. They gonna tell you what to do to get your body the same results that you want from your body that you're gonna get at CrossFit, right? So let's minimize some things a little bit. Let's be a little bit more reasonable with the expenses that you're taking. If you don't need it, get rid of it until you get to a place where financially where you're able to do whatever it is that you want to do, where you don't have to worry about it. You have the money to do it, so you're gonna do it. But right now, that's the one thing about money management. You have to make sacrifices. That's literally it's gonna come with properly managing your money. If you want to have money, if you want to be wealthy, be rich one day, if you don't even desire to be wealthy or rich, you just want to live comfortably, like be financially stable, in the beginning, making sacrifices is going to be very essential. Like, you want to focus on the things that you actually need and not what you want. You get what you want when you're financially stable, when you're at that point. So, in other words, do not live above your means. Live within your means. You don't have to live below your means either, but you can live within your means without living above or beneath. Don't do anything extra that you know you can't afford. That if you know you can't afford to do it, don't do it. So it's like the same thing with getting a credit card. You're only supposed to use a credit card if you have the money to pay it back. If you don't have the money to pay it back, you do not need to be using that credit card. Simple. So yes, when it comes to managing your money, I gave you 2 basic things that I do that's very helpful for me, and I'm doing it on a consistent basis. I'm constantly monitoring my money. I know what's coming in and what's going out, and I'm able to like maintain that way. That's how I'm able to do extra stuff, go on trips, go out, do all this stuff. It's because I always know what I have, what's going out, what's coming in, and I decide how I spend. I decide exactly how I spend that money. I control the money that I have coming in and coming out because I'm the one putting it out based on the things that I want to put it out on. And when it comes in, I'm moving it around and I'm knowing exactly how I'm gonna spend it. That works for me. That's how I'm able to do extra stuff. But in order for me to do that, I do have to, in the beginning, and sometimes constantly, because again, we're in this horrible economy right now. Everything is high. Everything is unnecessary extra. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on what you need and not what you want. You'll get what you want eventually, but you can't get what you want until you got what you need. That was a word. Let me say it again in case you didn't hear me. You cannot get what you want until you've got what you need. Pin dropped. Okay, but that's on a serious note. That's my little 2 cents of how I manage my money. I feel like it's a very good way to manage your money for beginners. Beginners, if you want to start from the basics, if you want to just do the smallest of things that will make a huge difference. Like, I'm not here telling you to, I don't know what all these big financial advisors be telling people and investors. I'm not doing the extra stuff right now. This is just the basics. This is just the baby stuff. The baby stuff, but it's going to get you somewhere. It's going to make a huge difference, right? This is what I do. This is what worked for me. I am, again, not rich, far from wealthy, but I feel like I live pretty comfortably. I'm still able to do what I like to do and still take care of my expenses. I could be doing more, or there's more things that I would like to do on a bigger scale. But babes, again, I'm focusing on what I need first. And once I get to the point where I can get what I want, oh, we're gonna ball. But we only gonna be able to do that because we've been doing this for so long. And so I feel like this is just very simple, straight to the point, a good starting point in how to manage your money comfortably, right? Again, I can get deeper and go in more details, but right now this is just going to be the basics. Just start with this. And I don't know if you guys like it, if you guys want to see what more do I do, let me know in the comment section, and I'll be more than glad to make another video and go even deeper. We can dive in deeper. But right now we're just going with the basics, just walking with you for the basics, and let's try this out. Let me know if it works for you. Let me know if it was helpful and if you would like to see more. Thanks for watching.